The film opens with a scene at a mafia base, where an elderly mob leader named Norm is hosting a lively party. Among the attendees is Bull, who happens to be Norm's son-in-law. Norm beckons Bull, informing him of their upcoming task, collecting a debt from someone after the party concludes. After the festivities, Norm, Bull, and their crew hasten to their destination, which turns out to be a meat slaughterhouse. Norm appears visibly perturbed as the owner of the facility has been in debt for an extended period. Despite initial assurances of repayment, the factory owner now refuses to settle his debt and adamantly declines to sign foreclosure papers. Bull, growing increasingly frustrated with the factory owner's defiance, decides to take matters into his own hands. Without uttering a word, Bull intimidates the factory owner by inflicting harm upon him, and slicing one of his fingers. Eventually, the factory owner succumbs to the pressure and agrees to sign the foreclosure papers. On their journey back, Bull inquires about Gary, a member of their crew who was supposed to address this debt issue but didn't accompany them on this mission. To Bull's surprise, no one provides any answers or explanations regarding Gary's absence. Later that evening, as Bull returns home, he discovers Gary's car parked in his driveway. It is then revealed that unbeknownst to Bull, Gary has been engaged in an affair with his wife, Gemma. Startled by Bull's unexpected return, Gemma is at a loss for words as Bull proceeds to his son's room. Bull's heart is shattered, never anticipating that his wife would betray him with one of his close friends. Despite his immense anguish, Bull chooses to conceal his wife's infidelity, motivated by his respect for Norm. In the subsequent days, Bull silently bears the weight of his heartbreak and dedicates himself to raising his son, Aiden. One day, Norm takes Bull aside for a conversation, expressing his reliance on Bull within the gang. However, due to Gemma's preference for living with Gary, Norm insists that Bull must divorce Gemma. Norm apologizes to Bull and declares that he is no longer part of their criminal organization. Bull, who has been aware of Gemma and Gary's affair for some time, accepts this decision out of respect for Norm's leadership. He asserts that he has no concern for Gemma and Gary but respects Norm's authority within the gang. Bull, though, seeks custody of his son, Aiden. Norm opposes Bull's request, believing that Bull cannot care for Aiden properly. Their disagreement escalates, ultimately leading Bull to storm away in frustration. The following day, Bull takes Aiden to his former home without any regard for the consequences. Despite his ruthless reputation in dealing with adversaries, Bull's love for his son remains unwavering. That evening, two of Bull's friends, Marco and Mike, pay him a visit at his old home. They inform Bull that Norm wishes to meet with him and Aiden at a nearby funfair. Initially hesitant, Bull eventually agrees to the meeting upon learning that it is a farewell gathering orchestrated by Norm. Upon arriving at the funfair, Bull and Aiden savor their time together, partaking in the various amusements and rides. Sometime later, Bull crosses paths with Norm. Norm instructs Mike and Marco to take Aiden to the next game while he engages in a private conversation with Bull. Once Aiden is out of earshot, Norm points a gun at Bull and leads him to the parking lot. There, Bull comes face to face with Gary. Fueled by anger, Bull berates Gary, branding him a failure. He doesn't stop there. Bull also disparages Gemma, referring to her as a woman of low morals who cheats on every man she encounters. Bull's insults about his daughter enrages Norm, who responds by striking Bull's head with his gun. Norm then forces Bull into the trunk of a vehicle. They transport Bull to an abandoned bus located in a desolate field. Shortly after, Gemma arrives and physically assaults Bull for taking Aiden away without consent. When the situation eventually calms down, Norm poses a question to Bull: "What would you do if you were forcibly separated from Aiden?" Bull nonchalantly retorts that he would eliminate anyone responsible for such a separation. Knowing full well Bull's ferocity, Norm decides not to take any chances. In the end, Norm resolves to eliminate Bull. He orders his men to douse the bus with gasoline while forcing Bull to consume alcohol until he loses consciousness. Showing no mercy, they leave Bull alone inside the bus, which they then set ablaze with him inside. Aiden, aware of his father's presence on the bus, exits Gemma's car and desperately cries out for his father. Gemma quickly retrieves Aiden and drives away. 10 years after this tragic incident, Bull is waiting for a taxi, a changed man with revenge on his mind. Upon reaching his destination, Bull steps out of the car and takes the life of one of Norm's former associates. After this act, Bull proceeds to the funfair, a place where he and Aiden once enjoyed many happy moments together. At the funfair, Bull reflects on those cherished memories with his son. The scene transitions to the home of Norm's eldest daughter, Gemma's older sister. She is taken aback when she enters her well-lit house and finds her husband tied up. Her shock intensifies upon seeing Bull, still very much alive, standing before her. Bull demands to know the new address of Gemma and Norm's residence since their old home is abandoned. The eldest daughter pleads ignorance, explaining that they haven't been in touch for 5 years. Without hesitation, Bull exacts revenge by killing her and her husband. They had been complicit in providing the bus that led to Bull's near-fatal burning at the hands of Norm and his henchmen. The following morning, at Gemma and Gary's residence, Norm, who appears visibly older, pays them an unexpected visit while they are having breakfast. Norm arrives to deliver the shocking news of Gemma's sister and her husband's murder. Gemma reacts with anger, convinced that her sister's killer must be one of Norm's adversaries. In response to his daughter's accusations, Norm argues that he has no remaining enemies and suggests that the deaths were more likely the work of common criminals. Meanwhile, Bull resumes his quest for revenge. This time, he encounters a young boy who turns out to be Marco's son, one of Norm's former associates who had betrayed Bull in the past. Bull instructs the boy to return home and inform his father about Bull's presence, with a message that Bull will be waiting for Marco in the park. The boy complies and, upon reaching home, relays Bull's message to his father. Marco is incredulous upon hearing Bull's name, unable to believe that Bull is still alive after witnessing his apparent demise when he was burned alive years ago. Marco contacts Norm to convey what his son has shared, including the fact that a man named Bull is seeking him out. Norm instructs Marco to meet the man and confirm whether he is indeed Bull. Before leaving home, he takes a knife and instructs his wife to lock all the doors, forbidding anyone from leaving until his return. Upon arriving at the park, Marco is taken aback by the sight of Bull, who remains very much alive. He expresses disbelief, as he had witnessed Bull's gruesome fate years ago. Marco offers an apology to Bull, explaining that he had merely been following Norm's orders all along. Back at Marco's home, his wife anxiously awaits news from her husband. She receives a call from Marco, but it's not her husband on the other end, it's Bull. Sensing something amiss, Marco's wife rushes to the park. There, she is horrified to discover her husband's tragic demise. The following day, Norm and Gary visit Bull's mother's residence. Marco's recent death has made them realize that Bull is indeed alive. Norm confronts Bull's mother, demanding to know Bull's current whereabouts. However, the frail woman insists she doesn't know where Bull is, all she can attest to is his disappearance a decade ago. Norm persists, even resorting to threats, warning the elderly woman that he will harm her if she continues to withhold information about Bull's location. A few hours after Gary and Norm depart, Bull arrives at his mother's house, only to discover that she has been killed by Norm. Devastated by this tragedy, Bull's relentless pursuit of vengeance continues, with Mike as his next target. That morning, Mike had just picked up his 2 children from school. As he strolls with his kids, Bull waits for him in a car. The sight of Bull shocks Mike to the core, it's as if he's encountered a ghost. As we know, Mike was complicit in Bull's attempted murder orchestrated by Norm and the others. Bull instructs Mike to get into his car, threatening him with death otherwise. During the drive, Mike is overwhelmed with remorse, continually pleading for Bull's forgiveness and the safety of his 2 children. Bull proceeds to a nightclub, where he coincidentally encounters a drug courier. Recalling that Gemma struggles with drug addiction, Bull apprehends the courier to extract information about Gemma. Bull then queries Mike about Gemma's whereabouts, but Mike, genuinely unaware, swears that he has no knowledge of Gemma's location. He discloses that he hasn't seen Gemma in 3 years and speculates, maybe Gary and Norm know where Gemma is. Ultimately, Bull presents Mike with a choice. If Mike can bring Gary to the fun fair, he and his 2 children will be spared. However, failure to do so will result in their deaths. Upon arriving at the amusement park, Bull takes a moment to enjoy a ride with Mike's son. A while later, Mike arrives and informs Bull that he has managed to contact Gary, who is currently near the waltzers. Bull decides to release Mike and his 2 children, as Mike had been the one to reveal Gary and Gemma's affair in the first place, a gesture of respect. Bull then confronts Gary, menacingly positioning a knife between his legs. Gary's fear is palpable as he faces Bull. Bull subsequently invites Gary to an arcade game as a means of interrogation. Midway through the game, Bull inquires about Norm and Gemma's whereabouts, to which Gary deceitfully claims that he and Gemma separated 6 years ago, and he has no current knowledge of their locations. Seeing through Gary's lie, Bull acts swiftly, fatally injuring Gary by slicing his vital organ. Although Bull hasn't yet discovered the whereabouts of Gemma and Norm, he remains undeterred. Once they reach the dealer's location, Bull politely inquires whether Gemma is one of the dealer's customers. The dealer proposes to provide the information in exchange for money. Bull agrees to the terms but requests a sip of the man's drink. With little preamble, Bull amputates the man's hand and subjects him to torture. In excruciating pain, the drug dealer ultimately divulges the information and offers to drive Bull to Gemma's residence under the condition that Bull spares his life. Bull arrives at Gemma's house, where he discovers her asleep. He awakens Gemma with a forceful shout. Gemma is startled to find Bull standing before her and instantly issues an apology, fervently pleading for his forgiveness. Bull commands Gemma to summon Norm to meet him immediately. Sometime later, Norm arrives, armed with a gun, at Gemma's house. Unaware of Bull's presence, he cautiously enters the residence. However, Bull is prepared and conceals his knife, poised to strike. Bull successfully incapacitates Norm, rendering him unconscious. After subduing Norm, Bull seizes a pillow and places it over Norm's face, while interrogating Gemma about Aiden's whereabouts. Despite Gemma's desperate pleas, Bull refuses to relent until he extracts information on Aiden's location. In a fit of fury, Bull bellows for Aiden, instilling fear in Gemma, who discloses that Aiden has been abandoned by her and currently resides beneath a bridge in the city center. Norm ultimately succumbs to his demise before Gemma's eyes, and Bull also fatally shoots Gemma. That night, Bull searches for Aiden under the bridge in the heart of the city and, upon finding him, rescues him from that wretched place. Bull resolves to take Aiden to a nearby church. The following morning, a vicar arrives at the church, revealing herself to be Bull's mother-in-law, Cheryl. Cheryl had divorced Norm before Aiden's birth. When she opens the church door, her astonishment is palpable upon seeing Aiden unconscious on the floor. However, her shock deepens upon encountering Bull, as she believes Bull had perished 10 years ago. Cheryl inquires about Bull's purpose for coming, and he explains that he seeks salvation, not for himself but for Aiden. Bull's entirely black eyes reveal the truth that he had indeed died 10 years ago when Norm and his cohort set him ablaze on the bus. Somehow, Bull has returned from the grave to exact revenge and ensure Aiden's safety. Before departing, Bull implores Cheryl to care for Aiden diligently, and with that, he disappears for good.